What is going on, everyone? We are back again with another mock draft. We are officially about 24 hours, looks like about 26 hours away from the NFL draft starting, the 2022 NFL draft. And we're going to go through another mock draft. We did one yesterday, so if you guys haven't checked that one out, you should check it out because this one's going to be different as much as possible that I can make it. Just to kind of see how, if this is the way the top of the draft goes down, how does the change the middle and the bottom? It's so hard to predict. We don't even know who's going to be the number one overall pick. I think a lot of people have a good idea with Trayvon Walker, but who knows? It could be a curveball, right? So we're going to go through this mock draft again. Again, we're going to try and change it up from yesterday's mock draft. Maybe some picks will be the same, but we're going to try and change it up as much as possible. If you guys like this video, if you guys like my content, please subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps. And like this video, and let's get right into it. So we started off with Jacksonville. Last mock draft, the one yesterday, I had Jacksonville taking Trayvon Walker. I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to take this year. But I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to have them taking one of the top tackles in the draft, even though they just signed Cam Robinson. You know what? Scratch that. I'm going to have them take Aiden Hutchinson. They're going to take Aiden Hutchinson, number one overall. They go edge, but they change it up from Hutchinson to, from Trayvon Walker to Aiden Hutchinson. So then we make it to the Lions. And I think if this happens, I think they go Thibodeau number 2 overall. They still need that edge. They miss out on Hutchinson, but, they still get Thibodeau, who could very well be the best edge rusher in this draft. Okay, so already some change at the top 2. Thibodeau, I believe, went number 4 overall in yesterday's draft. So now that leaves the Texans. Texans are here. They are looking at basically whoever they want to take here. I think I'm going to have them take a cornerback here, and it's not going to be Sauce Gardner. I think I'm going to have them take Derek Stingley Jr. I just have a feeling that if the Texans are going to go the cornerback route, they're going to take Stingley over Sauce Gardner. I think they might think for Lovie Smith, especially, that he will fit his defense a little bit more. Okay, so now we're looking at the Jets. Jets definitely have a needed offensive tackle, and all 3 are still on the board. I think it's too much to the fact that you have your choice of offensive tackle. I think it's too tempting to not do it. And for that reason, I'm going to go for Ekwonu. I think Evan Neal is a little bit better as a pass blocker, and the guy's just a huge beast. Ekwonu is considered the best run blocker, whereas like Charles Cross, I think, is kind of considered the best overall tackle, in my opinion, in this NFL draft. I think I'll say Jets go Ekwonu. They take the big beast from NC State, and they're gonna run the heck out of the ball. So that makes it to the Giants, yeah. And I think for the Giants, I think we're going back to back. We're gonna go back to back tackles here, and we are gonna go with Evan Neal. And I think the Giants take a tackle in this situation because I believe they would think that. Yeah. You know what? No, I'm going to have the Giants taking Trayvon Walker. Giants take Trayvon Walker. They really need that edge. And I think maybe they go tackle, depending on what Carolina does, but they take either Charles Cross or Evan Neal, whoever drops to them, unless they really, really like one of those guys more. But it comes to Carolina, okay? And I'm going to throw a huge curveball in this one. Carolina obviously needs a quarterback. I do think there's a really good chance that they get Mayfield. So I think I was thinking about projecting them a quarterback to go to them, but I think Matt Rule is like really in like he needs to win now type of mode, or else he could be fired. And taking a rookie quarterback, especially this year, I don't think it's going to do that for you. So I think they go offensive tackle, and I think they take the big old Evan Neal at number 6. They take Evan Neal, they get their stud tackle, and hopefully that can help whatever quarterback is back there, give them some protection. And their defense, they went heavy on defense last year. Really, really good defense, potential at least. And yeah, they need some offensive improvements, and I think Evan Neal is really going to help that. So then we get to the Giants, and I just think it's way too hard to pass up a tackle here. And I think they go, in my opinion, the best overall tackle in the draft is Charles Cross from Mississippi State. Maybe Evan Neal has a better pass blocker. Maybe Iquanu's a better run blocker. But if you put it both together, I think Charles Cross is the best out of those. Now 8, I know at the Falcons pick here, I had them taking on the last mock draft. I had them taking a quarterback. I think I'm gonna have them not take a quarterback this time. I think we're gonna go for a wide receiver. We're gonna go Garrett Wilson. Last mock draft, yesterday's video, we did not have a wide receiver go in the top 10. This time we will. We're gonna take Garrett Wilson. I really do think that if Malik Willis is sitting there at 8, I don't think the Falcons pass up on them. But I want to change it up a little bit, see what happens if wide receivers take in the top 10, a quarterback starts to fall, what's going to happen, right? And so we're looking at the Seahawks, and, again, tempting for a quarterback here, but I think I'm going to leave quarterback off the board, not taken. And I think they're going to go down to Jermaine Johnson from Florida State, just like a potential stud as an edge rusher. I also do think Jermaine Johnson could fall a bit. So I'm going to take Jermaine Johnson at number 9. And now it gets back to the Jets. And to me, this is tough. I think they go Kyle Hamilton at 10. Yeah. They take Kyle Hamilton, number 10. They just get a safety that can play everywhere, all over the field. Could be a kind of a game changer. Totally turn your defense around. Derwin James type of player. You can play him in the slot, cover tight ends. Rush the passer in the box, deep safety, and I think that's just a little too appealing for him. For him to drop out of the top 10, I think would be kind of not shocking, but I think it would be a big mistake when we look back 2-3 years down the road and we see that Kyle Hamilton was, drafted 12th or 15th, and he should have been a top 5 pick, right? So next we get to Washington, the football team. What is it? The Commanders, and yes, they really need a wide receiver. Really, really need a wide receiver. Cornerback is also well in play here. I think I'm going to have them take a cornerback, Ahmad Gardner. And, they hope that they get maybe a pick, wide receiver in the second round or something. They can find some player in the second round. I think them seeing Sauce Gardner drop, it's too tempting to not take him, and I think they go Sauce Gardner, and they really, really shore up that defense, and they're building more into their strength. Their strength is their defense. I don't think they can win a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz as the quarterback, but if they are going to win a Super Bowl, they really, really need the defense to be really good and to kind of carry that team this year. And maybe Wentz gets hot in the playoffs. Who knows? So then it drops to the Vikings. Another interesting team, in my opinion, because there's a lot of different ways that they can go. And I think what they do, and this might shock some people, I think they go, to me, the best receiver in the draft, and that's Jameson Williams. And I think Williams is going to be the best receiver in this draft. Maybe he's not ready by the beginning of training camp, but for the Vikings, that's not a huge deal. You got Justin Jefferson, And you got Adam Thielen, who's still, putting up respectable numbers. And that's why it might shock people that they take a wide receiver here. But Thielen is getting older. I think he's like 31, 32. And, their new coach is coming from the Rams, where the Rams just had, Cooper Kupp. They had Van Jefferson. They had Robert Woods. They went and got Beckham before Woods even got hurt. They went to go get Beckham. They know the value of weapons on your team. And to add a player like Jameson Williams, and who can take over as the number 2 easily when Thielen could be gone next year. Because after that, you're very, very, you're very thin at receiver. If Jefferson or Thielen gets hurt, it's like who's the third on that team? Osborne? Do you want him? Yeah, nice player. Do you want him as your number 2 receiver? I don't know. So that's my opinion. That's what happens there. Then we get to the Texans and we get to their second pick. And I kind of, this is a tough one. This is a really, really tough one. I think Texans, again, really, really tough. I think seeing Trevor Penning there and their need. You know what? No. I'm going to go Karlaftis. I think they double up on defense. They take an edge rusher, a guy who I think is a lot better than people are giving him credit for. And I think he's a really good player from Purdue, and he can really, really help that defense. I don't necessarily think he's going to be maybe an all-pro player, but I think he can just be like a consistent 8 to maybe 12 on his best season sack kind of guy. A guy you really need on defense. You need to get after the quarterback in the NFL. It's cornerbacks and edge defenders. Those are the most important positions. So then we get to the Ravens. And I think the Ravens are ecstatic that Jordan Davis drops to them. And they grab Jordan Davis. And to me, it's like, I know he's devalued a lot. 1, he's an interior defender. And 2, he's not like an Aaron Donald type. He's more, he can destroy the run game, right? He can absolutely come in and destroy the run, but there's so much value in that to where if you have 4 guys up front and 2 or 3 of those guys can win their battles one-on-one and shut down the run, you can drop 8 into coverage, 7 guys into coverage, 5 in the box, and you can shut down the pass while also shutting down the run because your guys up front are winning their battles. And I think Jordan Davis is going to do that. He's going to win his battles. I think he's slightly underrated. Do I think he's going to be an Aaron Donald? No. Do I think he could really, really help a defense, especially a defense that potentially, is if you're expecting to build around Jordan Davis, that's not who kind of player he is. You drop him into a defense like maybe the Ravens or the Chargers that he's been projected to, it's going to do wonders for that defense, in my opinion. Okay, now we get to the Eagles. And I think the Eagles, they obviously have several needs. The Eagles only have 1 pick in the first. No, they have 2 picks. Eagles have 2 picks. I think what they do here is they go Trent McDuffie. They could go wide receiver, but I think the fact that there's 2 good wide receivers, Drake London's still there, but Olave's still there as well. I think they're going to scoop up the cornerback because I don't think there's any way. It's tough, but I don't think there's any way that the corner gets back to them. You know what? No, they're going to take Drake London. I think it's just too much value there for him to drop to 15 potentially. Although I'm not completely sold on Drake London, in my opinion, I've explained this before. He's a contested catch receiver, and those receivers who can't get a lot of separation and they rely on the contested catch, those are the ones I think that are most likely to bust rather than people who can run routes or have speed. So I'm a little nervous there, but I think they really do need someone to help Jalen Hurts and to kind of be the 1A or 1B to Devontae Smith. So I think they go Drake London here. And then he gets to the Saints, and I think the fact that London went, I think the Saints would have taken London had he been there at 16, but he's not, and I think they go Trevor. Ooh, I almost made a mistake. They go Trevor Penning from Northern Iowa, just a stud tackle. They lost Armstead. They need to shore up that offensive line, get a little younger on that offensive line, and so this is kind of the perfect player. Fits right into their system. Plug him in at left tackle. Could really help Jameis. All right, so then we get to the Chargers here, and I think the Chargers are kind of thinking, they could have used Trevor Penning, and but they can also use a cornerback, even though they signed a cornerback. And I think what they're going to do here is they're going to take Trent McDuffie. I think Staley loves his cornerbacks. And yeah, they got J.C. Jackson. They got Asante Samuel Jr. last year. But now you're adding another high draft pick in there. And you're like, okay, well, now you got Asante Samuel Jr., J.C. Jackson, and Trent McDuffie. Staley and his defense, they want to shut down the pass. They don't care about the run as much. They focus on shutting down the pass. And that's what they do here with this pick. They're going to load up on cornerback. Okay, so then we get to the Eagles' second overall pick. They took a wide receiver earlier, Drake London. And I think what the Eagles do here is they kind of fill a need and they kind of pick, the best player available, in my opinion. And I think they go Zion Johnson. Okay, they go Zion Johnson, and I think that's what they do. They shore up that interior line, offensive line, which is what they're going to need to do. And now, you add two good offensive players to your offense, and you're giving Jalen Hurts as much as possible that you can give him to succeed. And if he doesn't improve or succeed in his second year as a full-time starter, then maybe you can think about moving on. Yeah. So now we're looking at the Saints, and we got all three quarterbacks on the board here. And I think the Saints are going to take one of those, and I think they're going to take Malik Willis at 19. They're going to take Malik Willis just because, he fell all the way there. I think this is the quarterback with the highest upside. Now, that's not saying, he's going to be the best quarterback in this draft, because who the hell knows, right? Who knows who's going to be the best quarterback and the worst quarterback? But I do think he has the most potential. And so the Steelers seeing that a quarterback just went, I think they also take their quarterback of choice. And I had them taking Kenny Pickett in last draft too. And I just think if he's there, they're going to take him. If he's there, they're going to take him. So I think they take Kenny Pickett. I think he can sit behind Trubisky 1 or 2 years. And Trubisky's not the worst quarterback. He's decent, shouldn't say decent. He's average or slightly below average, but he's not horrendous. Okay. So, that's who they take there. And then we get to the Patriots, and with the Patriots, I think we're looking at, their need for a linebacker here, and a linebacker that I really, really like, is Kobe Dean from Georgia. And I think the Patriots take him. I think Dean is the best linebacker in this draft. I think I have him slightly better than Devin Lloyd. And I think he's just kind of that Jamie Collins, Teddy Bruschi, not so much Teddy Bruschi, but like Patriots and their linebackers, they have a history with these linebackers. And I think they really need one. Belichick being a defensive guy. I think on offense they feel okay with what they have. Maybe they could use an interior lineman, but you can find those guys later on in the draft. It's really hard to find a player like Kobe Dean, and he can do everything. He can cover tight ends. He can rush the passer, play the run. He can literally do everything. So then we get to the Packers. And just to change it up a bit, I do think they go Treylon Burks, even if Olave and Burks are there. But just to change it up, because I chose Burks for the Packers last time, um, yeah, we're going to go Olave to the Packers. They finally get the receiver. They really, really need receiver. It's not even like one of those things like if they had Devontae Adams and people are saying they should take a receiver. They need a receiver. It's simple as that. They really, really need a receiver. You can't go into the season with Lazard as your number one, in my opinion. Could be wrong, but in my opinion. Then we get to the Cardinals. And I think what the Cardinals do here, I think they are kind of in play for a receiver as well. And I think the fact that they need to make Kyler Murray happy, they need to keep him happy. I think they take a receiver here, and I think they take Treylon Burks. And I think this is a real possibility of keeping your quarterback happy. You know, you got Hopkins, a little older, AJ Green, old. I know you took Rondell Moore last year, but you know, throw in another weapon, right? If AJ Green is there, you know, Treylon Burks can definitely he can definitely upgrade your receiving core much more than AJ Green can. Okay, now we're to the Cowboys, and I think for the Cowboys, if someone like Daxton Hill falls to them, you know, a pretty big safety, you know, not a huge safety, but a 6-foot safety. And I like Daxton Hill. You know, you can see here he's a versatile defender. And I think they can kind of play him everywhere. I think he could even play like a corner at times, but I do think he's more of a deep safety. So I think that's what they go with is Daxton Hill, safety from Michigan. Okay. And now we get to the Buffalo Bills. And I think the Bills, a player I actually really like is Kaiir Elam. And I think the Bills really want to upgrade their defense considering how last year ended. And, you know, they lost a cornerback in free agency. Tre'Davious White blew out his knee. And so that's an issue. Is he going to be ready by the beginning of the year? He could be, but you always need cornerbacks. They're just so important. You know, we're no longer in the, you have 3 starting cornerbacks. And the only other position that's the case is like wide receiver, right? You have 3 starting wide receivers. You just need cornerbacks. You need corners. And so I think they take a corner here. And for the Titans, comes down to the Titans. I definitely think wide receivers in play for the Titans here, but I think the fact that Devin Lloyd has fallen a bit, and Devin Lloyd was at one point considered the best linebacker and probably like a top 15 pick, and he's fallen off a bit. I don't know if this explains why he's fallen off a bit, but I do think taking Devin Lloyd, you know, will help that defense. Help that defense a lot, and they need help on defense, that's for sure. They do need wide receiver help though. Then we get to the Patriots. I think Buccaneers. I think Buccaneers definitely take Daxton Hill if he falls here, but he didn't fall. I think there's a temptation to take a receiver here as well, because who knows with Godwin, but you know, they did get Russell Gage. They'll probably get Gronk back. I think they go interior line. I think they value these guys, especially with who your quarterback is. And your quarterback, if given the time, can kind of make other players pretty, you know, better. He can make them better. And so they can survive with Russell Gage as your number 2 and Johnson, Tyron Johnson as your 3, or Scotty Miller throwing in, you know, you still have Gronk and Fournette in the passing game. So I think you can kind of survive a few weeks until Godwin gets back. And so I don't think they take receiver here. I do think they take an interior offensive lineman. Then we get back to the Packers. And for the Packers, I think this is a value pick here. and they see Devontae Wyatt from Georgia fall a bit to where he's projected to. And I really like Wyatt's, um, right here, 3 down interior defensive lineman. Um, I think he fits for the Packers. They do need to improve that defense as well. Um, and it's kind of a value pick. It's like, all right, this guy's dropped potentially 10 spots from where he was projected. I think we're getting a lot of value here. The Chiefs, again, I think it's almost certain that the Chiefs take a wide receiver here. And I really, really like, I know I took him last time. I love the Sky Moore pick to the Chiefs. I really, really like that pick over Dotson. I know Dotson's still there. And Dotson, similar build, but not as, he's not as heavy as that, but it's just, he's a fast guy, right? He's a really, really fast guy. And so there's that appeal to him, and like we're getting another Tyreek Hill, but I really, really like Sky Moore. And Sky Moore is just a little more built than Dotson, and I just think Sky Moore can do a lot of things in Andy Reid's offense. Yeah. Okay, and then we get back to the Chiefs picks, and I think they go Boy Mayfrey here. I think they take an edge over Andrew Booth Jr. I'm not high on Andrew Booth, to be honest. Not very high, not as high. Obviously, I think he could be a good player. He's a borderline first rounder for me, so it's tough saying I'm not high on him because he's a really, really good player. But I do think the Chiefs go edge here, and then we get to the Bengals. And the Bengals interior, I think they just keep shoring up that offensive line. I know they made moves in the offseason, but they can still use another guard or center, center/guard here. And I just think, with the Bengals, I know they got Ted Karras from the Patriots, but he played guard last year for a reason. I know he played center with Miami, and but he can play guard, and I think Linderbaum is like literally, he's the best prospect to come out at center since a long, long time, and I think it's just really hard to pass that up to pair Linderbaum with Joe Burrow for the next 15 years. And Karras, he can play guard or something, or even Linderbaum can play guard for a year as he transitions. And then it comes to the Lions, and I think it's just really too tempting. If Ritter is still there, or even if Pickett's still there, and obviously Malik Willis, I think it's just way too tempting to not take a quarterback here, because if you take a quarterback in the 5th round, you get that 5th-year option. And if you take him in the 2nd round, you have one less year that you can control them. And I think with Goff, you can still roll with Goff for another 1 or 2 years. You have that 5th-year option. You can go 3 years with Ritter, see what you got until you draft someone else. So I think it's way too tempting to not take that. So there you have it, guys. There's my 2nd mock draft. I'll probably put out one more tomorrow before the NFL draft officially starts, just to see how we do. Tell me what you guys think about this one, if you like this one more than the other one, or if you just didn't like what I had your team drafting, and where you agree or disagree. Leave a comment. Like always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys all next time.